Hello to all the handsome and beautiful viewers who have tuned into Adonis Recap. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to support me by hitting like, subscribe, and share so more people can discover the high-quality content from this channel. Wishing you all an enjoyable viewing experience. Today, let's continue following the unfolding events of the story. I got stuck in the same day for 1,000 years in the upcoming chapters. 10 days later, this place had turned into a bustling construction site for infrastructure. Wu Shen spoke up. Not bad, not bad. With such an incredible building speed, the 17th prince will be very pleased. Seeing that Wu Shen seemed uncomfortable, the man beside him asked, "Brother Wu, are you feeling any discomfort? It seems like there's tension in your waist and shoulders. Let me take you for therapeutic massage with traditional Chinese therapy. It will be gone in 2 days." Wu Shen responded, "Oh, is there a place like that in Qatar?" The man replied, "Jiangong is the best in China for traditional medicine therapy. This place not only has great service, but also has beautiful young girls with skilled techniques. They understand the body better than we do." Hearing this, Wu Shen let out a light sigh and replied in exasperation, "What you're saying? Never mind." Then he shouted, "Everyone has been working hard for 10 consecutive days, so let's take a break and relax our shoulders and necks." Thinking that Brother Wu was refusing out of shyness, it turned out to be exactly what he liked. The scene at the healthcare club Bulan Ting Side Club, a famous healthcare area. A nimble staff member stepped out and said, "Mr. Zhang, I'm really sorry. Since you did make an appointment in advance, we probably won't be able to accommodate you today." The young man named Zhang raised his voice. "Huh? What's going on? Why didn't I hear anything about this? 2 days ago, you didn't say anything. How do you run your business? The guests I brought here today are all esteemed customers. If you can't resolve this, then call your manager out here to talk." The staff member responded, her tone apologetic. "I understand that everyone is a valued guest, but today we have a special appointment from another customer. This is the first time we have encountered such a situation, so we hope for your understanding." The young man named Zhang could not contain himself. "The main purpose of your establishment is to do business with us Guaxia people. I want to see what kind of renowned customer you're talking about, to compare with our Mr. Wu." At that moment, a girl with orange hair walked out from a distance, her tone cold. Hey, can you be quieter? This is the best physical therapy club in China and Qatar, and you Guaxia people can't even perform the most basic quiet action, can you?" The young man named Zhang was furious and was about to react when the girl shouted loudly, "You're that distinguished guest, aren't you? I want to know why you dare to discriminate against the Guaxia people so openly." Wu Shen immediately advised Mr. Zhang, since they booked the venue in advance, it wouldn't be a problem for us to change to another location. There's no need to argue here. Suddenly, another beautiful woman stepped forward and spoke. "Nancy, why haven't you finished yet? This is Princess Monaco Lazavalena." Nancy replied softly, "Your Highness, I apologize. We can negotiate immediately." Princess Lazavalena said, "Never mind. Initially, we just came here to make a spontaneous reservation, so let's overlook it. Give each of them some money and remember to verify their identities for the next registration. Are the technicians ready? I'm very eager to get started." Having said that, she turned and left. Wu Shen thought, if she's called a royal, then she must really be the Princess of Monaco. Truly, a noble guest. Wu Shen turned to Zhang Gong and said, "Let's go. Mr. Zhang, there's no need to make a big deal out of this." Zhang Gong swallowed his anger and asked, "Who is she, Mr. Wu? I'm really angry to be treated like a beggar." Wu Shen calmly responded, "She is the Princess of Monaco, the closest friend of the 9th Princess of Qatar. Do less, but with quality, avoiding trouble for the 17th prince." The next morning, Wu Shen was reviewing the script with the director for the second filming episode. Xia Qin Shi happily reported, "Teacher Wu, the filming today went very smoothly." Suddenly, from a distance, Tang San Bao rushed over, shouting, "Master, master." Wu Shen asked in confusion, "San Bao, why are you here?" Tang San Bao gasped and said, "Master, there's a group of people blocking the construction site. They won't let us contact the outside. Something is about to happen. Master, you need to go there to resolve this." The scene shifts to the construction site. Nancy was directing sharply, "Everyone must be checked and checked thoroughly for me." At this moment, the workers were lining up to report, their faces filled with confusion. Wu Shen cheerfully spoke up, "Our construction site is fortunate to be visited and supervised by the royal family. It is truly an honor." Wu Shen stepped closer to Nancy, but she immediately aimed her gun as a warning. "Quickly stand still for me." Wu Shen smiled and replied, "Oh wow, greeting with a gun? No need for that." Lazabalina stepped forward, her voice full of authority. "I demanded that you register last night. Why did you run away? Especially you. You have a very complicated background. You are not just an intelligence businessman, but also a senior partner of the Donghai gangs and organizations in America. Moreover, you have very complex relations with the indigenous people of Africa. Wu Shen replied nonchalantly, "So what?" La Zabalina continued, her gaze icy. "In other words, if someone wants to harm me in Qatar, you would be the most reasonable person to do it for them." Behind them, Zhang Gong spoke up indignantly. "Meeting you yesterday was bad luck, and today is worse luck." Tang Sanbao said, "Regardless of whether you are a princess or a royal, I will not allow you to harm my master without reason." Wu Shen signaled and calmly said, "Do not be agitated. I completely understand why Princess Lazavalina is doing this." Sanbao was upset. "Master, she already considers you a villain. Why do you still empathize with her?" Wu Shen thought to himself, "After completing all skills over thousands of years of reincarnation, I was once so bored that I passed the time by collecting anecdotes about royal families around the world. But the funniest was the family of Princess Lazavalina of Monaco." He approached fearlessly and said, "Princess, if I told you that I could completely connect with you, would you believe it?" Lazavalina was surprised, thinking to herself, What? What is happening with this man? Does he not fear death at all?" At that moment, Wu Shen suddenly displayed his skills, swiftly knocking Nancy down. He then took advantage of the situation, starting a flirt. "Although yesterday was the first time I met the princess, I understand you better than you understand yourself. Of course, this is beyond your comprehension, but that's fine. I will speak clearly, but we need to change places." Lazabalina stood stunned. Before anyone could react, Wu Shen made a surprising move. He lifted her skirt to inspect. Lazabalina yelled loudly, hurriedly covering herself, screaming, "Ah, how dare you go under the princess's skirt? You're such a pervert." The bodyguard immediately drew his gun and shouted, "What are you doing in the princess's skirt? A public inspection, is it?" Sam Bao and the other workers blushed and thought to themselves, "Mr. Wu, what kind of trick is this? What kind of powerful technique is the master using?" Lazabalina blushed deeply, stammering, "You prefer? What? What the hell are you doing?" After a while of fumbling, Wu Shen stepped back, calmly responding, "The princess is often at risk of being kidnapped or assassinated. You should pay special attention to security issues. I have also experienced similar situations, so I understand your feelings." He took out a small device, pointed at Nancy, and said, "Do you not know that the main reason you're in danger is Nancy, who is always by your side, or the shady factors around?" Hearing this, Lazabalina exclaimed, "Oh my God!" Wu Shen reached out his hand and softly said, "This is not the right place to talk. We should change locations, Your Highness. You can leave the bodyguards here." Somehow, Lazabalina instinctively reached out to hold his hand. Wu Shen then pulled her away, but not before reminding San Bao, "Make sure the construction site resumes regular operations." A while later, Wu Shen was taking Lazabalina out for a walk and conversation. Lazabalina spoke up from behind, "Is there anything else you know about me?" Wu Shen smiled and replied, "Of course I know a lot. Your Highness, you are the eldest child of the king and queen. The queen passed away from illness when you were just 7 years old. 2 years later, the king remarried, and the new queen quickly gave birth to a princess for the king. Since the little princess turned 18, everything has started to change. Your stepmother initiated an endless assassination campaign to seize the throne. But you were very clever, managing to avoid most of the assassination attempts. However, you once went through the most terrifying chill when you found a boyfriend to ease the difficulties in your heart, only to later discover that all of them were assassins planted next to you. There was even a time when you poisoned a condom, but thanks to your sensitive physique, you luckily escaped the disaster." Hearing this, Lazabalina blushed and interrupted, This is really strange. You don't need to say any more." On the white sandy beach, the whispering waves lapped against each other, creating a peaceful scene. In the car, Wu Shen asked, "Do you know why your father remains indifferent to the fact that you were being assassinated? It even seems like he is complicit." Lazabalina replied quietly, "Since ancient times, in most families, whether royal or ordinary, whenever there is a stepmother, things just happen this way." Wu Shen said, "But you have underestimated your father. In fact, his love for you has not only not diminished, but has increased." Lazabalina asked in surprise, What? What are you saying?" "I completely do not understand what you are saying." Wu Shen explained, "In our way of speaking, this is called the psychology of emperors. Your country has an unfavorable geographical position, surrounded on 3 sides by France, a giant that exerts pressure. From the moment you were born, you had to watch the expressions of others. Just a small mistake could risk losing the country. Therefore, the heir must have a steely will, extraordinary courage, and decisiveness. What your stepmother does in your father's eyes is a challenge posed by the nation to train you. That's why there is the saying, fire tests gold, hardship tests strength." Upon hearing this, Lazabalina was very surprised and asked again, "Does he really think that way?" Wu Shen turned down, answered sternly, Your Highness, the best way to resolve danger is to abandon defense and attack first to gain the advantage. Lazabalina suddenly pondered and said, our country is strongest in tourism. What should I do now? Wu Shen smiled and asked back, are you seeking advice from me, Your Highness? Lazabalina replied, I'm really sorry about the blockade of your construction site. You, come down here, come here. Wu Shen was confused, thinking she invited him down to the back row to do yoga, but was suddenly pulled outside. He was flustered. Oh, what are you doing? Just come down here. Don't worry. Lazabalina stood before the vast, shimmering sea without hesitation regarding her status and sincerely said aloud, Wu Shen, here, I officially want to apologize to you. Please forgive my recklessness. Wu Shen replied, his tone a bit teasing. Is it really that serious? It seems I cannot refuse this time. Half a day later, back at the company. The young people in the tech team were almost exhausted, complaining, our game's results are too good. All I can think about now is the upcoming vacation. Another responded, we have a lot of feedback from players, but he's very focused. The workload for this patch is within expectations. Just then, Wu Shen arrived, making the whole team think he was there to drain them. The old man smiled and said, Mr. Wu, I just saw the news that you've taken on 2 major projects in Qatar. How do you have time to come here? Wu Shen spoke up. Of course I'm here to drain you all. I have a new idea that requires the development department's coordination. The game developers, who had just gotten a moment to breathe, now had to turn into cash cows for Wu to exploit. One young man softly said, our vacation isn't going to be canceled, right? Another young man replied, you really can't trust the boss's words. Wu Shen smiled. We're not asking everyone to work overtime. Our next project is a game set in medieval Europe. This is Princess Laza of Monaco. Upon hearing this, several longtime single young men jumped up in unison. What? A princess? Seeing the aura that Laza exuded, Wu Shen continued, our game will feature a highlight of collaboration with Monaco. After players complete exploring the map and unlock hidden quests to become holy knights, they can use their game ID to travel to Monaco. They will receive free food and drinks. If the game's outcome is good, the staff will also receive similar benefits. Wu Shen smiled, glanced at Laza, and added, at the same time, the princess will ask government agencies to help our developers find a beautiful wife from Monaco. Upon hearing this, the young men who were once drooping suddenly exclaimed in unison, did you mean if we become outstanding employees, the princess and the boss will give us a wife? Wu Shen laughed, looking at Laza. It can be roughly understood that way. The young men who were previously lethargic were now filled with energy, excitedly speaking loudly. Ah, boss, pick me. I will work hard. I want to work overtime. Nobody stop me. In my heart, there's only work. Behind him, the old Arab couldn't help but exclaim internally, Mr. Wu is truly frightening. Not only is he intelligent, but he also has incredibly impressive connections. I used to think he was only close with a few major families in the country. I never expected he would also be a guest of the Crown Prince of Qatar and the Princess of Monaco. Fortunately, I am his ally. If I were his adversary, I would probably be out of the game by now. Wu Shen and Laza exchanged satisfied smiles. Their plan had initially achieved great success. At the same time, on Huang's side in a large room, and Huang was deep in thought. If the new game boosts Monaco's economy, it's very likely that a year later, a medal will be awarded to the person who made the biggest contribution. That person, isn't it Wu Shen? So if he succeeds, would he become the Duke of Monaco? This shocking information quickly reached Lai Rubing. She read the news, pale with worry. This is no joke. He really can do it. Quickly take this list, contact these people right away, and gather all of them to Donghai immediately. The secretary held the documents and quickly responded, I'll do it right away. But inside, she couldn't help but feel worried, thinking to herself, it has been a long time since I've seen this expression. A boss like that is truly frightening. A while later, Oh Yurong and King Er arrived. Yurong spoke up, her tone full of provocation. Are you going to continue with this drama, Lai Rubing? What meaning does repeating the past hold? In the room, all the sisters were present for the emergency meeting. After hearing the news that Wu Shen was at risk of becoming the Duke of Monaco, Lai Rubing coldly replied, Yurong, aside from confronting me, can you do anything else? You are well aware of the current situation. Or do you not want to think about being Sister Yang to him? Yurong slowly sat down with a smirk. It's not because your position as the main wife might be shaken. Well, what does that have to do with us? What do you think, lady? King Er raised her teacup, smiling with hidden meaning. Tian added, On how that statement of yours is incorrect. This matter is very much related to us. Think carefully. At this moment, and Huang interrupted, Ladies, hold on a moment. Someone else wants to talk about this. Yurong frowned, and Huang, do you also want to fight for status? You have never slept with Wu Shen. And Huang did not speak, but turned the computer screen and calmly replied, It's not me, it's her. Look closely before you speak, sis. Yurong was taken aback as she looked at the screen. At that moment, Zhang Xiaonan was FaceTiming with Xia Qin Shi and Meng Lan. Sister Lai started, Miss Xiang, didn't you promise Wu Shen not to interfere in our affairs? Why have you changed your mind and want to join this battle? Xiaonan responded, I heard everything you and Yurong just said. I don't care about your hierarchy. What I am worried about is whether I will be able to see Wu Shen again in the future. I just want to collaborate with you to find a solution. Yurong asked in surprise, What do you mean? Why are you worried about not being able to beat Wu Shen? Lai Rubing confidently interjected, I knew it. The moment you saw my invitation for a gathering, all you thought about was confronting me without considering anything else. Don't you know what makes Wu Shen special? He never pursues women. Women seek him out. Do you think everyone here is sufficient? There are still 2 Hoa sisters outside that I haven't called in. Did you think of that? Wu Shen has the potential to become the dupe of Monaco and support the princess in ascending to the throne. Next, he might become the princess's husband. By then, to maintain the dignity of the Monaco royal family, it's very likely that Wu Shen will be forbidden from contacting us. Hearing this, Sister Il was left speechless, feeling fearful inside. She thought of the scene where the wicked princess would crush her love story with Wu Shen. Yurong was even more terrified, thinking to herself, It's impossible to meet Wu Shen again. That would be hell on earth. I don't want that. Qinger spoke up. The princess being with Wu Shen is beyond our control, but as long as the princess wants to claim the throne, her husband must surely be worthy. Ru Bing added, In other words, our task now is to find a way to make Wu Shen lose the opportunity to become a duke. Ting then agreed. That's right. Although I feel a little regret for him, we still have to do this for a future where we still have a beloved husband by our side. Ao Yurong was thinking very carefully, weighing the pros and cons. She muttered, Should we hire a hacker to destroy his newly developed game? But if we do that, will he hate us later? Is the gain worth more than the loss? Ru Bing responded firmly, I can't afford to worry too much about that right now. If we can't make a decision, Wu Shen will sooner or later be destined to marry the princess. While the sisters were engaged in a tense discussion, the 2 youngest, Zhuang Xiao Dai and Zhao Yi, sat silently, looking worried but not daring to speak up. On the laptop, Zhang Xianan's voice rang out, Let me tell you something. You show strength when something happens. There must be many solutions to this question, right? Ru Bing pondered. It seems that Miss has thought of a better way. Xianan, go on. Xianan continued. Up until now, there are quite a few women around Wu Shen, aren't there? The one who has been by his side the longest must be in the best position, right? Will the woman who comes later be prioritized? Isn't the first love always more significant? Or has he given up on his first love? Could he have treated the first one poorly? At this moment, Tian Tian blushed and replied, No, Wu Shen, he is very good to me. Really very good. Ru Bing asked again, her voice filled with doubt. Do you mean that we don't have to do anything at all? Xiaonan calmly said, All you need to know is one thing, keep your head cool. The decision on what to do or not to do is up to you. Sister Lai was silent, deep in thought. Xiaonan continued, As far as I understand, the original intention of the Monaco royal family was to award titles to those who made significant contributions to the country's economy after 1 year. Ao Yurong immediately exclaimed, That's right. What we should do is invest in Monaco. Ru Bing, hearing the idea from the rival, couldn't help but respond with joy. If our economy can outperform the economy generated by Wu Shen's games, then we won't have to trouble him. That would be great. King Min added, I will arrange to move the headquarters of the Jin Fu group overseas to Monaco. This way, the royal nobles in Monaco can contact us more easily. At the same time, the special jewelry line provided by the royal family will have a better opportunity to thrive. Kinger spoke up, If there's anything I can help with, just let me know. Zhuang Xiao Dai and Zhou Yi exchanged glances, both sharing a common thought. Confident in themselves, but when looking at their sisters, they felt it was wonderful that everyone could help Wu Shen. Even Xia Qin Shi on the other side had the same thought. However, she felt that she couldn't do anything, which was quite different for the other sisters. Eldest sister Lai Ru Bing noticed the expressions of the 3 people, smiled, stepped forward to hug her 2 younger sisters tightly, and gently said, We are a family. Just focus your minds on this place. Channel all your hearts and energy into it. You only need to do what Wu Shen instructs. Try your best, you understand? The 2 younger sisters blushed and replied, Sister Ru Bing, we know what to do. And Huang, sitting nearby and eavesdropping on the heartfelt scene among the sisters, thought to herself, "It's rare to see Miss Lai so gentle. Ha ha! This is really interesting." Turning to Wu Shen, he spoke, "Today has been a long and tiring day. Princess, you should rest early. No need to see me off." La Zabalina was about to say something, but Wu Shen interrupted. "Princess, don't say anything. I understand. If you need anything, just call me." Seeing him leave, La Zabalina felt a bit reluctant, thinking, "This Wu Shen, I have never seen a man so confident." Wu Shen instructed his gang members, "Everyone still needs to be cautious of those around us. Protect the princess. All the brothers in our gang must take responsibility for the princess's safety and not let anyone infringe upon it." The gang members replied in unison, "Don't worry, we won't embarrass Mr. Wu and Brother Lu." After speaking, the three people quickly left with extraordinary skill. Wu Shen smiled faintly upon discovering someone was silently watching him from behind. He softly said, "Ha ha! Seeing that it's hard for the princess's side to accomplish anything, it seems she has decisively changed her target. Let's see what tricks you can come up with." About an hour later, Wu Shen poured himself a glass of water, feeling sluggish and thinking to himself, "Are you waiting for me to doze off? Why don't you come and attack so I can go to sleep?" He sighed and decided, "Never mind, I'm too tired. I'll take a shower first." In the bathroom, as Wu Shen turned on the water, the hot steam rose. He smiled. "I've been waiting here for an hour. Now, everything will begin." Wu Shen called the receptionist, his voice annoyed. Well, what's wrong with this shower? It's scaring me to death. Hurry and send someone up to fix it." Suddenly, Nancy unexpectedly kicked the door open, drawing a gun aimed straight at Wu Shen. She said, "It's a spy trader. You would be amazing if you can survive the first wave." Wu Shen calmly replied, "No need for that." Nancy was astonished. "What? Did you drink that cup of coffee without getting poisoned?" Immediately, Wu Shen counterattacked. He struck the gun from Nancy's hand, grabbed her by the head, and slammed her hard to the floor. Wu Shen was only wrapped in a towel, pressing Nancy down. He said in a cold voice, "I'm sorry, but the information dealer is just one of my identities. You have nothing about me, but I know everything about you." He continued, "Everything the queen told you is a lie. Nancy, you have been deceived." Nancy screamed, "What nonsense are you talking about?" Wu Shen smiled faintly, waved his hand, and mocked. "They say that the impure thoughts of men and women often lead to disaster. My mind is now filled with impure things, and I cannot control my hands." Saying that, he firmly held both of Nancy's hands while gently pulling her shirt down with the other. Nancy frantically pleaded, "No, don't touch me. I'll be poisoned and die." About 2 minutes later, she turned red, gasped for breath, and trembled as she said, No, don't. I will." Wu Shen calmly replied, "How can it be? Not only did you not die, but you also felt very comfortable, didn't you? That's why I said you were tricked by the queen." He continued, "Of course, if you believe the lies of the queen, then you need to start reflecting on your miserable childhood. Your parents were minors, and they were so busy with work that they couldn't take care of you. They sent you back to your grandfather's house for him to take care of you." Wu Shen scoffed, "But your grandfather was a worthless old man. He used the living expenses left by your parents to eat, drink, gamble, whore, and smoke opium. He didn't care about you at all. One day, when he ran out of money and could no longer go have fun with prostitutes, he developed dark intentions towards you. As a result, you were violated." Wu Shen tilted his head and looked at her, his voice cold. "But that old man was a filthy degenerate with numerous sexually transmitted diseases. Unfortunately, you contracted gonorrhea from him. Before long, your private parts started oozing and festering. More disgustingly, he even criticized you, saying that you, being young, didn't focus on your studies and got involved in a chaotic society, which led you to suffer from all sorts of illnesses." He shrugged. "Your parents, out of anger and shame, kicked you out of the house. You wandered the streets for half a year, filthy and plagued by disease. When you were near death, the queen appeared and brought you into a new life." Wu Shen leaned in closer, his gaze scrutinizing. "Do you want me to continue with the next part? Or shall I finish what I've started?" Wu Shen continued, his hands still playfully touching Nancy. "The queen has not abandoned you. She brought you to the top hospital and invited the best doctors to treat you. After that, you became a close maid beside the queen, who arranged for you to learn skills from classmates and gradually mature." He emphasized, "But the queen brought you back for two purposes. First, it's not convenient to talk about it now. Second, she wants to turn you into a pawn to assassinate the princess. The queen understands that the greatest weakness of women is love. To prevent you from meeting men, falling into love, and no longer listening to her, she exploited the painful experiences of your childhood to create a story that interaction between men and women is impure and will produce a virus." Nancy tried to respond. No, you're lying. The queen would not deceive me. Wu Shen tightened his grip on her hand, his voice firm. Just now, your body reacted right. That's the instinct of a mature human. The queen calls it impure. So would you like to try? Let's see if that so-called virus appears when touching a man. Wu Shen continued to confuse Nancy. He slowly helped her feel, causing Nancy to blush but not resist. Wu Shen smiled. You said the queen wouldn't deceive you, right? So let's verify it between the queen and me. Who is deceiving you? Who is telling the truth? Nancy shyly replied, All right, then please yield a little. She slowly leaned in, her mischievous hands starting to untie his towel. Nancy said confidently, The queen's gratitude towards me is as deep as a mountain. I would rather sacrifice my life to prove that she is not lying. Wu Shen laughed mockingly. The queen said that just touching would create a virus. You touch now. Is there a virus? If you're still not convinced, you can touch a little longer. About 10 seconds later, Nancy felt a surge in her body, her face flushed. Wu Shen gently said, Don't panic. This is just a normal physiological reaction. After so long in this experiment, had your hand been infected with the virus? Nancy quietly lowered her head, not knowing how to respond. She instinctively checked and replied, It's still as flexible as ever, no signs of infection. The queen really deceived me. Wu Shen continued, his tone calm. It's good that you understand. I hope from now on you won't interfere in matters between the queen and the princess anymore. Wu Shen instructed from behind. Tomorrow the princess will leave Qatar for Belgium to inspect the Osme Pharmaceutical Company, a group in which the royal family has shares. Don't let her go there. I haven't trusted the nation and his highness, but if you betray the queen, it would be shameful for the grace of her saving and nurturing you. Nancy slowly took the gun, tears began to fall. In the end, she took her own life right there. The sound of gunfire startled Wu Shen. He ran over and saw Nancy lying motionless on the floor. He sighed. This is not betrayal, you foolish girl. You don't even know that the main purpose of the queen bringing you here was. You are really so foolish. He frowned in anger. The matter of Princess Laza, even though I didn't want to intervene, now I have no choice but to manage it. The queen and that doctor, you two have succeeded in making me furious. The scene shifts to the next morning. Laza had just stepped out the door when she suddenly spoke. Mr. Wu, why are you here? Wu Shen replied, Your Highness, are you planning to go to Belgium to check the Osme Pharmaceutical Company because you suspect there is a problem? Laza asked in surprise. You even know about this? Wu Shen nodded seriously. If I tell you that the Osme Pharmaceutical Company actually has issues, then going there might not lead you to any findings, but you will certainly be in danger. Can you please not go? Laza chuckled, but her voice was full of determination. Mr. Wu, didn't you say that the heir to the kingdom must have a steely will, extraordinary courage, and decisive tactics? If I am scared of a little danger, then my father and you would probably laugh at me. Wu Shen replied, Although it's rare for your highness to have this determination, I will accompany you there. But remember, your highness, you must stay by my side. Laza smiled. Oh, are you going to be my bodyguard? All right, I understand now, Mr. Wu. Scene shifts to Belgium. In the outskirts of City M, the pharmaceutical company Osme, the main person in charge of the company, Wen Ren Long, personally came to greet them. He smiled warmly. Your Highness, is this visit for a bookkeeping check or for some other requests? Laza replied, No, I want to see the research and development and clinical trials of the pharmaceuticals. Wen Ren Long appeared enthusiastic. Your Highness, feel free to see whatever you want. Who will go to the research center first? At the entrance of the center, he reminded, Your Highness, you need to wear dust-free clothing inside. Wu Shen immediately said, Let me help you change, Your Highness. Inside the changing room, Wu Shen carefully checked every detail of the outfit and said, the dust-free attire is not an issue, but Laza changing next to me has a bit of a problem here. Laza stood nearby, her face as red as a tomato. Wu Shen helped her put on the dust-free clothing, his movements gentle, but making Laza even more flustered. She thought to herself, Mr. Wu, he's standing too close. I can always feel his breath. After getting ready, Wen Ren Long led the two into the research center. He reminded, Your Highness, feel free to look around, but please do not touch anything. If there's any issue, just ask me. I will clarify everything. Laza asked, Is there only this research center? He replied, Of course, Your Highness. Building a research center requires substantial funding. Without the approval of Your Majesty, how could an ordinary person establish one? If there are no other issues, shall we return to the office to discuss further? After reviewing, Laza said, All right, I'll return to the office first. Wu Shen gently replied, Your Highness, it would be better for me to help you change clothes. In the changing room, Wu Shen was helping her take off her clothes, and Laza shyly said, Mr. Wu, it was okay to wear clothes earlier. It should be fine to take them off now. Wu Shen, with the demeanor of a gentleman, closed his eyes to help her remove her garments and gently responded, "We have a saying, careful and carefree." After changing, Laza hesitated to say, "Mr. Wu, I want to go to the bathroom." Wu Shen said, "Okay, let's go. I will take you." But when they reached the door, Laza said, "Mr. Wu, please wait outside. If anything happens, I will call you." About 6 to 7 minutes later, Wu Shen stood waiting outside and felt a bit confused. He wondered, "It's been a long time. Why hasn't your highness come out yet?" He then knocked on the door and called out, "Your highness, are you done? If you are, please respond." But there was no response from inside. Wu Shen started to feel that something was wrong, so he broke the door open and called out loudly, "Your highness?" Inside, Laza had fainted in the thick smoke. Wu Shen felt uncomfortable and thought, "I'm feeling dizzy. There's nothing but harmful gas in here, colorless and odorless, high density. This is bad. If your highness has been inhaling this for so long, her body must have suffered irreversible damage." The incident of the princess entering the restroom is a random event that cannot be predicted in advance. It is highly likely that the entire company has been set up as a trap with someone who knows the princess's whereabouts at all times and can control the mechanism immediately. The most likely person is him wearing the doctor. Wu Shen frowned and commanded, "System, restart." And so the wheel of time turned back. In this moment, Wu Shen carried Laza over and reported, "Your highness, the evidence is clear." Laza spoke up, "If it weren't for Mr. Wu arranging for a stand-in, the one poisoned just now would have lost their life, and that would have been me." Immediately, Wu Shen apprehended Dr. Wen Renlong. After being caught, Renlong shouted loudly, "What do you intend to do? No one besides His Majesty and the Queen has the right to arrest me." Wu Shen laughed and said, "That's fine. You can choose to discuss your past with the current Queen of Monaco here, or you can return to speak with the King and Queen." Hearing these words, Wen Renlong widened his eyes in surprise and asked, "What do you know?" Wu Shen turned to say, "Your Highness, I hope you do not get too agitated hearing this." Laza stood next to them, feeling a bit anxious and uneasy. Wu Shen began to recount. Dr. Wen and the current Queen of Monaco, Gray, were classmates at his university, Imperio. Due to their shared interests, they quickly went from being classmates to lovers. Not long after being together, Gray became pregnant and gave birth to a child, but the hospital discovered that the baby was not his biological child. The doctor said that the child was his brother's son. The two argued and wanted to hit the doctor. Since he was an only child, he decided to investigate the truth himself and uncovered an astonishing fact. He was a monozygotic twin in genetics. Monozygotic twins mean that two embryos fuse together and develop normally like conjoined twins. However, there are special cases where one embryo develops normally while the other completely dissolves in the doctor's body. Wen Renlong retained a part of his brother, although it had no consciousness and no independent organs. The abandoned child passed away shortly after. To have a child entirely his and Gray's, he pursued in vitro fertilization. But Gray thought he had gone mad and wanted to break up. Later, he sought out Gray again and told her that the child was completely successful and convinced her to give birth to the baby. Laza spoke up and asked, "Are you saying that my sister, she's not our father's child?" Wu Shen only closed his eyes and did not respond. Wen Renlong answered, "This is enough. There is nothing more to explain. It is up to you to handle it." Thus, the underground research center was completely destroyed by Laza. Sitting in the room, Laza trembled and said, "Mr. Wu, next I will go back to my country to handle my sister's matters." Wu Shen approached to comfort her. "You don't need to feel guilty. As the heir to the nation, your highness must have responsibilities and obligations, and you must do this." Laza burst into tears, hugged him tightly, and said, "Mr. Wu, hold me a little tighter. I need more strength from you." Wu Shen gently patted her, reassure her, "Your highness, don't be afraid. Just relax and take a good rest." After taking Laza to her room to rest, a few minutes later, Wu Shen suddenly flung open his room door and questioned, "Why are you two here? Can you explain a bit?" In his room, Lai Rubing and Zhao Xiao Yi were already dressed in sleepwear, sitting on the bed. Rubing and Xiao Yi exclaimed in surprise, "Darling, Mr. Wu." Lai Rubing pulled Xiao Yi forward and said, "Oh, I'm here to fulfill a promise between the two of you. The new film has aired 4 episodes and received very positive feedback. Xiao Yi is now very famous. You might have forgotten what you promised her, have you?" In the past, Xiao Yi was ready to say, "Or boss, give me a chance to be your woman." He replied, "As long as you truly strive for your dreams, when the new movie achieves success, I will meet your wishes." At that moment, Wu Shen asked, "Of course I remember, but honey, Do you have to worry about these things now? Ru Bing looked at her younger sister and replied, family matters, of course, need attention. My dear, take care of your work first. Other things can wait until tomorrow. So Ru Bing gave the two of them some private space. Xiao Ye blushed and said, Mr. Wu, I haven't let you down. The new movie has achieved significant results already. He hugged her and replied, I know, you silly girl. Xiao Yi continued, since today, I have quietly learned a lot, Mr. Wu. Please close your eyes. Wu Shen helped her take off her clothes and said, ha ha, Xiao Yi. In moments like this, perhaps the one who needs to close her eyes is you. He then laid her down on the bed affectionately. Perhaps it was from earlier when she was learning from the eldest sister. Xiao Yi sweetly said, I love you, Mr. Wu. Zhou Xiao Yi shed tears of happiness. The two spent a passionate night together. The next morning, Wu Shen spoke up. Are you awake? Did you sleep well? Xiao Yi widened her eyes in surprise. Mr. Wu has been awake for a long time, still waiting for me to wake up. In this position, his hand must be numb by now. She shyly replied, Mr. Wu, you are too gentle. Can I stay by your side like this forever? Wu Shen gently kissed her forehead and replied, What are you saying? Of course, I will be by your side. You were tired last night, so take a little more rest. I'm going to find Ru Bing. Xiao Yi obediently answered, Yes. A moment later, in Ru Bing's room, Wu Shen asked, My dear, now tell me, what was the important matter you wanted to discuss last night? Sister Lai said, After you left, the Hoa sisters were sabotaged. Zhou Kaiyang accused their cosmetics factory of causing severe pollution and colluded with the authorities, wanting to take over their company. Wu Shen continued, Zhou Kaiyang. This person is outrageous, wanting to bankrupt Hoa Lai and then proactively get into bed betting him. He is far too arrogant. I will report this to His Highness Laza, and then we'll head back to Donghai. After a while, Wu Shen led his two wives with him and said, Your Highness, this matter regarding your sister shouldn't be escalated. I believe you'll handle it well. I've arranged for someone to protect you in secret. His name is Lao Dao. Laza happily replied, Yes, if there is a special situation, I will consult Mr. Wu. A day later, at Ma Duo, a beautiful girl was relaxing with a massage. Wu Shen entered, innocently saying, Boss Lady Lin really has an interesting hobby, raising a puppy while letting it run wild outside. Aren't you worried? She spoke up. To sneak in here without alerting my bodyguards, you must not be an ordinary person, right? Did you come to find me just to talk about Zhou Kaiyang? What has he done this time? Wu Shen replied, This is the chairman of Unlimited Investment International Bank named Lin Xe. Seeing her sit up, he immediately turned away and said, There's nothing important. He is just a tool to draw attention to Boss Lady Lin. In fact, I came just to get to know Boss Lady Lin. She laughed and said, Many people want to get to know me. You have to line up. Wu Shen said, Why do I feel like I could cut in line? Boss Lady Lin, a person with assets of $60 billion, thinks her life is complete, so she raises a puppy for fun. But what if I told you that you have a son? Upon hearing this, Boss Lady Lin's face darkened as she asked, What are you talking about? He smiled faintly, thinking in the cycle of reincarnation. Lin Xe stood forth on the list of the women I cared about. While I had endless time to learn skills in the cycle, Lin Xe did not spend much time studying at all. She could understand anything just by glancing at it, and she could master any task after just one try. Truly a rare genius. However, in the past, she was infatuated with love to the point of losing control. At 25, she got married and had a child, leading a happy and joyful family life. Unfortunately, when her child was 3 years old, the whole family went on a road trip and encountered a landslide. Her husband died on the spot, and the 3-year-old child also disappeared as the car fell. Lin Xe was pierced in the abdomen by a metal shard, damaging her uterus and ovaries. If it weren't for a villager passing by who discovered her in time, she might not have survived. After being taken to the hospital and saved, Lin Xe lost the ability to become a mother again. From that moment on, her fate changed, and she lost her passion for life. Initially, she just wanted to make a living, but thanks to her sharp eye and accurate investments, she became a shark in the financial world, believing she was no longer a complete woman. She also lost the desire for love and gradually became immersed in casual affairs with young bodies to see if Lin Xe could feel love again. In the 1,000-year cycle, I tried every possible way. The results showed that if I just found the lost child who had not died, the maternal love within her would be awakened. He pretended to say, To know the whereabouts of your son, we need to make a small exchange. Upon hearing this, Boss Lady Lin exclaimed in surprise, What? Seeing that Boss Lady Lin's defenses had been broken, Wu Shen took the initiative to move closer and said quietly, Our transaction may be small, but it's not suitable to discuss it here. Boss Lady Lin, please come to the office, and it would be best if you brought your lawyer along. A moment later in the office, Boss Lady Lin spoke up. We've changed the location, and the lawyer is here. Is that official enough? Can we talk about your transaction now? Wu Shen replied, I won't beat around the bush with Boss Lady Lin anymore. I want 51% of unlimited investment and to be the CEO. Hearing this, she frowned and said, my unlimited investment, while not the most powerful, has a market value of around $60 billion. And you intend to ask for half right away and think this is a small transaction? Young man. The lawyer sitting beside her couldn't help but break into a sweat, thinking, I have never encountered anyone so unreasonable. This person must be insane. Wu Shen confidently stated, the prerequisite for the transaction is fairness. The document on the left is the operating status of unlimited investment 1 month after Boss Lady Lin finds her son. The document on the right is the letter Boss Lady Lin sent to me. After handing it over to me, I will operate the company. If the actual situation does not match the documents, the share transaction will be canceled. The lawyer will keep these 2 copies of the documents. What do you think? Boss Lady Lin said, prepare the documents and you go outside first. The lawyer sighed and replied, all right, I'll do as you wish. After he left, she immediately asked, so where is my son? Wu Shen replied, don't ask anything more, Boss Lady Lin, and in due time you will naturally find out. Thus, the 2 parted ways until 10 days later. In a temple, a young man with a scar on his head was practicing there. Wu Shen spoke up. Years ago, an accident threw him out of the car. He rolled down the hillside and suffered a head injury. Fortunately, a llama saved him when passing by. For more than 10 years now, he has lived there, becoming an anonymous llama. This is the result of the paternity test. Boss Lady Lin was astonished, speechless. That person is my son. She wanted to rush to her son after 10 years of separation, but Wu Shen stopped her, saying, Boss Lady Lin, at that time, the young master suffered a head injury, and to this day, he still cannot speak. You won't be able to communicate with him. Hearing this, Boss Lady Lin broke down in tears and replied, what are you saying? My son is mute and deaf. Wu Shen reassured her. Don't be agitated. I have a way to heal him, but you must trust me. Boss Lady Lin said, as long as it can be cured, that's good. I want to take him to America to find the best doctor for treatment. Money is not an issue. Wu Shen continued, the problem is that his condition cannot be cured by modern Western medicine. That's why I want you to trust me. Boss Lady Lin moved, said, okay, I will trust you one more time. You must definitely heal my son. He replied, with your words, Boss Lady Lin, we cannot hesitate. Let's go right away. More than a day later, Wu Shen drove Boss Lady Lin and her child to a remote village. Boss Lady Lin asked with suspicion, is this really the place to treat my child? Are you sure? Wu Shen gallantly opened the door for them and replied, Boss Lady Lin, do I seem like I'm joking with you? Then the 3 of them entered a nearby clinic. An old man spoke up, we just had a distinguished guest leave not long ago. I didn't expect another visitor in the new village. It hasn't been lively here for a long time. Wu Shen said, Elder Du, we didn't come here for no reason. I hope you can use the 5 key transmitted elements technique to examine my friend's child. The old man responded, the 5 key transmitted elements, that's just an old rumor. People have exaggerated it. Wu Shen replied, you don't need to be modest, Elder. The person you were worried about, I already settled matters with him long ago. The compensation has been transferred to his account, right? The old man exclaimed in surprise, Are you Mr. Wu Shen? He immediately changed his attitude 360 degrees, his hands showing signs of admiration. I'm sorry for my dismissive words towards an outsider. Mr. Wu, please don't take offense. You have brought justice for him. You are the benefactor of the Du family. Who did you say you wanted to treat? After Wu Shen explained the child's condition, the treatment process began. Since this illness had plagued the boy for more than 10 years, it was difficult to cure it in just a few days. Therefore, Wu Shen and Boss Lady Lin stayed there. A week into the treatment, Wu Shen said, Boss Lady Lin, the phone has rung 40 times already. Are you really not going to answer? 20 days after the treatment process, the secretary came to call Boss Lady Lin, the company recently. Boss Lady Lin said irritably, what are you doing here? Everything will wait until we return. Even during the snowy, stormy nights, she didn't miss a single day to monitor her son's treatment progress. Wu Shen called, I've sent you the documents. In the upcoming time, contact the right people, as many as possible. When needed, I'll call you. The other side replied, yes, Mr. Wu. Time passed again. After a month of treatment, the boy could finally call out Ma. Boss Lady Lin was moved, unable to believe it, exclaimed, oh, that's great, my son. The scene shifted to Ma Duo. Wu Shen said, Lawyer, open the left document bag. Please compare the operational situation in the documents with the current situation. Does it match? He replied, due to the chairman neglecting internal management and leaking internal information, unlimited investment is currently being short-sold by several other companies. Wu Shen said, finding the son back, she has devoted all her effort to him, losing the sense of the market. More precisely, since her son reignited her passion, her absolute focus has shifted from work to life. Boss Lady Lin, upon hearing this, simply lowered her head in silence. Wu Shen placed his hand on her shoulder and said, perhaps asking in a different way will help you feel more clearly. Boss Lady Lin, in the current situation, do you have any solutions? He smiled gently. You can't think of anything. Your mind about work is completely blank right now. Instead of letting unlimited investment gradually disappear, why not let me try managing it? Boss Lady Lin, your son is in the process of recovery. He definitely wouldn't want to live in uncertainty in the future, right? Boss Lady Lin immediately fell into contemplation. She replied, let's let him manage the company for now. After saying that, she wearily left. Wu Shen beamed and replied, I've been waiting for you to say that. Boss Lady Lin, $2 billion will soon be transferred into your father's account. Everything is going according to plan. A month later, Wu Shen sat confidently reading the trending news. The top news was about the food industry in City A facing a major reform due to the innovative model of the Dong family. The second top news was about overpriced, unappetizing home cooking services and food delivery. The third top news was about an app for ordering freshly bought vegetables and cooking at home, where workers only need 15 coins for a clean and delicious meal. The fourth top news was that in half a month, the sales of platforms like Metro and City A had dropped significantly. He happily thought, she works so reliably. In just half a month, she has made such a significant impact. At this moment, Boss Lady Lin approached Wu Shen. In less than 2 weeks, the food industry in City A has been turned upside down. The new model from the Dong family is about to be rolled out nationwide, soon to invade the trillion-dollar market. The reputation of unlimited investment as return and profits are becoming harder to measure. Even during my heyday, I couldn't have done better than you. He pondered and asked, and then what? She replied, right now, I just want to know if the materials are really that miraculous. It seems like everything is in your grasp. Wu Shen signaled to open the sealed documents, but inside were only 2 sheets of paper with a few small lines of text. Boss Lady Lin, you don't want to try anymore. I don't want to try anymore. Boss Lady Lin adopted a position seated on the table and said, I suddenly remember about 2 months ago when you first met, you said you could push that person aside. That's quite outrageous. Wu Shen leaned in and replied, Boss Lady Lin, the outrageous part hasn't even started yet. I can do even more. Boss Lady Lin continued, how much more outrageous could it be? I'm really looking forward to it. Wu Shen then tore off her shirt button decisively. Then let's get started. Boss Lady Lin showed no resistance and embraced him. Thus, the two met intimate moments filled with affection right in the company office. However, the more he did this with Wu Shen, the desires that had been absent in Boss Lady Lin's love life gradually revived. She wanted more than this. Wu Shen began to change every position, using every move to satisfy her. Just like the saying, if you like it, spoil it. All the skills he had acquired over the years had to be put to use today. This left Boss Lady Lin happy to the point of being dizzy. It seemed she felt so stimulated that she was about to faint. After some playful moments together, Boss Lady Lin collapsed into his arms. Wu Shen spoke up. Boss Lady Lin, I've just finished warming up. I'm still in a very vigorous state. Shall we start round 2? She tiredly pleaded. No, please. Oh my, why do I feel like you are like a machine that moves forever? Don't you feel tired? Wu Shen didn't say much and began to wash her hands. He pondered. It's time to grasp her key point. After all, in the 1,000-year cycle, I have long known that after relying on a boy to stimulate maternal instincts and ignite the passion for life, experiencing the romance between man and woman would be the most important part. Because for many years she has had countless men, but the key point in her body has risen too high. Ordinary men cannot penetrate deep into her soul. Wu Shen forcefully tore her white shirt and said, 5 o'clock was far from the peak state of happiness. Boss Lady Lin, trust me, I will let you experience the highest state of happiness. Boss Lady Lin, lying beneath, was too exhausted and could only let Wu Shen take the initiative. About an hour later, the sound of shaking furniture echoed, and Wu Shen was still diligently at work. Boss Lady Lin, out of breath, thought, Wu Shen is a man with business capabilities on par with or even exceeding mine. The mystery is that he seems to be able to predict the future. For example, in that letter, how did he know what I wanted to say? But he is also the simplest and purest man. This guy is incredibly strong to the point that I can't comprehend it. After being in a face-down position, Boss Lady Lin truly felt a sense of peace that fate had brought. Happy tears streamed down her cheeks. She asked, "Why couldn't I meet you sooner? I wasted so many years on a few boring men who didn't even understand what I was doing." Wu Shen smiled to himself. It seems that Boss Lady Lin's heart has been captured by me. Thus, another beauty joined the harem. A long while later, the affectionate moment finally came to an end. Wu Shen received a call and asked, "My love, what's the matter?" On the other end, Ru Bing's voice came through. In 2 days, the high-level young entrepreneur forum chaired by the provincial leaders will open discussion regarding the merger and reorganization of Lubelix and will soon be on the agenda. Wu Shen calmly replied, "I know. Haven't I been preparing for this for the past 2 months?" But Ru Bing sensed something was off. She asked, "Wait, is there something going on with you?" At that moment, Boss Lady Lin's image appeared on the screen. Wu replied, "You better come find me to talk." Ru Bing said, "What is with her arrogant attitude? You better tell her to give me a reasonable explanation." Ru Bing immediately hung up the phone. Wu Shen looked at Boss Lady Lin and thought, the explanation for Ru Bing is a minor issue, but what I didn't expect was that Boss Lady Lin's condition was much more serious than 1,000 years of reincarnation ago. 2 days later, at the main venue of the Donghai Young Entrepreneurs Summit Forum, in waiting room number 1, 2 provincial leaders were talking with Zhou Kai Yang. "Kai Yang, regarding the reorganization and merger of Lubelix, can you come up with a plan and send it back?" Kai Yang stammered. "Leaders, you! I've never heard of the case being dropped before. Why suddenly?" "Leader, didn't you fully participate in the research and discussion of my plan? You are also well aware of all the advantages after the reorganization, especially in promoting Donghai's GDP." At this moment, Wu Shen stepped in confidently and continued, "Don't waste your breath anymore, Zhou Kai Yang." He dissatisfiedly questioned, "What? Who are you? How did you get in here?" Wu Shen replied, "Who I am isn't important, but what matters is that the leader has chosen to accept my proposal." The suspicious man asked, "Oh, then what is your proposal?" Wu Shen said, "The emissions from Lubelix exceed the standards. I have paid to replace the equipment and implement extensive remedial measures. As for the pollution, whenever it needs to be addressed and whenever compensation is required, I promise the leadership that I will not make things difficult for the municipal committee and will definitely resolve the issues with the relevant parties." Zhou Kai Yang continued to question, "Throwing money out the window? Is this a problem that money can solve? With the emergence of such a garbage company, the business environment of Donghai will worsen and be questioned. The reputation will also be damaged because of this." Seeing that he was asking a lot, Wu Shen took a moment to tease without hesitation. "Is this really a big issue? Okay. Let me tell you about the business environment. Have you heard about the Song family's new model in City A? The first stop for national expansion will be Donghai. This is currently the most discussed topic and has received the most positive feedback. Can it positively steer the business environment in the Holodon region?" Hearing this, he arrogantly asked, "Ah, the Song family. That's really interesting. You saying the first stop is at Donghai. Where does your confidence come from?" Wu Shen replied, "I'm not from the Song family, but the Song family has voted for me." Kai Yang was shocked. "Wait, clearly Unlimited Investment has invested in the Song family. What does that have to do with you? Are you trying to say you are part of Unlimited Investment?" Wu Shen laughed and replied, "Based on the money spent on currying favor with Boss Lady Lin, you used your appearance to win Kaixia and have deceived people outside for a long time. Do you really think you are still human? Just because you want whole lie at all costs doesn't mean you can have it. Are you out of your mind?" He turned dark-faced and shouted, "What nonsense are you talking about? If you keep spreading this kind of false information, I will sue you." Hearing this, Wu Shen became scared and quickly showed him the video. In the clip, the young man was licking feet and said, "Sister Lin, your feet smell so good, so sweet, so soft." Wu Shen challenged, "Oh, go ahead and sue me. Aren't you afraid that the lawyer and the judge will see this video? Want to sue? Maybe Boss Lady Lin will have to sue you. For years, you have just been a loser licking feet, yet you wander around spreading rumors saying that Boss Lady Lin likes to have a relationship with you and claiming that you are her boyfriend. No matter what you do, from now on, the capital Kaixia will fall into my hands. Moreover, you are not allowed to slander or ruin the reputation of Boss Lady Lin. Do you understand?" Zhou Kai Yang was exposed and angrily shouted, "Tan, who do you think you are to take Kaixia from me?" He then jumped in to attack, but received a blow from Boss Lady Lin that sent him flying away. The young man had a puppy-like expression and called out, "Sister Lin." Boss Lady Lin said with fury, What the hell is this? Are you still going to hit him after watching that video? If you hadn't shown it to me, I wouldn't have known anything about you secretly filming. Boss Lady Lin tightly hugged Wu Shen, responding to Zhou Kaiyang's myriad questions. Weren't you always asking him repeatedly who he is? Let me tell you right now, he is Wu Shen, a major shareholder and the CEO of Unlimited Investment. I also declare that he is my only boyfriend. Is that clear? Upon hearing this, Zhou Kaiyang realized he had provoked a tough opponent and fled like a dog. Boss Lady Lin sweetly asked Wu Shen, "Are you satisfied with what I've done? If so, could you grant me a kiss as a reward?" Wu Shen gently replied, "Ah, the boss is still here." The boss slightly awkwardly asked, "The lounge isn't exactly a formal place. It's just a casual matter, feel free. But I must ask again, is it true that the headquarters of Unlimited Investment will be moved to Donghai?" Wu Shen answered, "Definitely." Boss Lady Lin added, "He said that too." The two hurriedly left. The boss said, "All right, I understand. You two go ahead, I won't disturb you anymore." An hour later at Lai Ru Bing's villa, Ru Bing loudly asked, "Oh, is this a visit for explanation or provocation?" Wu Shen shyly replied, "Dear, don't be too quick to get angry, let me explain. I call her Boss Lady Lin. Boss Lady Lin, Miss Lin, she is Lai Ru Bing, my girlfriend. Let me introduce to you about our hierarchy when we become a family. Remember, she is your older sister." But Boss Lady Lin still clung to him happily. Ru Bing sighed and asked, "Is this your new woman? Why does she have such virtue?" He continued, "On the first day feeling this happy, she must be a bit excited. You know, at this moment, she is not provoking you." Ru Bing replied, "Starting from King Min, most of the women you've brought home have some strange issues. She won't be like that for her whole life, right? Then what else can we do?" Wu Shen answered, "What do we do? Just wait for 2 more days, the symptoms will subside and she will be fine." Ru Bing tiredly responded, "In just 2 more days, I'll have to endure this tiredness. In 2 days, you'll have to clean up the mess made by the 2 sisters, Ho Bai and Ho Lai. If you can't handle it, then let me tell you in advance." The scene shifts to the West City district at the Ubelix manufacturing plant, where Wu Shen is assisting Ho Lai. He speaks up, "All this old equipment is useless. We don't need this old factory anymore. Let's move the factory to the new industrial zone." Ho Lai responds, "I am very happy to receive investment from you, Mr. Wu, but thinking about you having to spend so much money, I feel quite embarrassed. I already troubled you too much last time." Wu Shen casually replies, "I'm not personally investing in you, but rather Unlimited Investment. If you want to thank someone, you can thank Lin Xi, our chairman, at that time." She smiles and responds, "Oh, I see. So if I organize a thank you party, Mr. Wu, please remember to attend." He replies, "Sure, no problem." She says, "All right, I've finished the sample of the beauty drug. Do you have time? I want you to take a look at it first." He replies, "Okay, let's see what you've done with that drug." A while later, in another room, Hu Lai hands the finished product to Wu Shen. "Mr. Wu, take a look." Wu Shen takes a sip of tea and says, "This is the flavor. Next, we just need to wait for the factory to finish production and we can manufacture it in bulk." Hu Lai reaches for something while saying, "During the research process, I tried to modify the formula a bit. As a result, I found it has very good weight loss effects. Next time, I'll show you more." But because the items were placed on a high shelf, Hu Lai accidentally dropped the clay vase. Wu Shen quickly hugged her tightly, but the vase fell right onto Wu's head. One vase cracked as well. Hearing the sound of shattering, Hu Bai hurried over and asked, "Sister, what's going on?" But the scene before her made her blush. The two were entangled, and Hu Lai was also in a position where she was kissing Wu's cheek. Hu Bai thought, "Sister, why are you kissing him? I haven't even kissed him yet. So he likes my sister? What about me? What have I been to him?" Ho Bai quickly walked away. Immediately after, Hu Lei could only call out, "Hey, Ho Bai." Seeing blood trickling down, she worriedly said, "Mr. Wu, you're hurt. Let me help you bandage it up, okay?" The scene shifts to the Barbie bar, where Ho Bai sullenly drinks alone. She mutters, "Even though I know he has many women around him, that doesn't matter to me. I don't wish to be his only one, but if I have to share him with my own sister, I. On the other side, a young man spoke up, "Young master, look, that's the youngest daughter of the whole family from Mubelix." He then focused his attention and laughed heartily. "Interesting, isn't it? This person is the young master Bai Su Wen from the Bai family in the northeast." The subordinate said, "Young master, you have put in a lot of effort to clean up all the puppies that had connections with Lin Xi. Right now is the best opportunity for you to approach your goddess." He replied, "Initially, I intended to eliminate Zhou Kaiyang as well, but I feared that Lin Xi might rush to find someone else in response. Leaving a pest like him around isn't so bad. The other person angrily said, who would have thought Wu Shen would interfere? The more I think about it, the more it seems unfair to the young master. Bai Xiu Wen said, oh, you really know how to hit my sore spot. The other person took out some powder and said, in my opinion, it would be better for the young master to do this. He then poured the powder into a glass of wine. Bai Xiu Wen was delighted and understood his subordinate's idea. He then exclaimed, it truly is a great idea. It seems heaven is still on my side. 2 days later, Wu Shen was sitting and talking with Lai Ru Qin. Lai Ru Qin said, brother-in-law, the construction of the large bridge here is going very smoothly. The city center club has also begun renovation. I have already completed hiring the manager and assistant. It will have a trial opening in 3 months. You must remember to come. Wu Shen replied, don't worry, Lai Ru Qin. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door, and Wu Shen said, someone is looking for you, Lai Ru Qin. Let's continue this conversation next time. Lai Ru Qin understood and said, you can go handle your business. When Wu Shen went to open the door, he was surprised. Miss Ho, what are you doing here? Ho Lai anxiously said, Mr. Wu, Ho Bai hasn't come home for 2 days and we can't reach her no matter how we try. Is Zhuo Kaiyan causing trouble again? Do you think we should call the police? Wu Shen replied, go to sleep in the house. I will immediately send someone to investigate her whereabouts. 10 minutes later, and Huang brought the street surveillance footage for Wu Shen to see. And Huang said, Mr. Wu, I've sent you what you wanted. You should take a look. Wu Shen recognized the person lifting Ho Bai into the car. This face let me think it's from the Bai family in the northeast. Bai Xiu Wen, seeing him hurrying. Hua Lai spoke up. Is there news? Mr. Wu, we need to leave right away. He replied, no, Miss Hua, this person is not easy to deal with. Stay at home and wait for me. I will bring Ho Bai back. On Bai Xiu Wen's side, he was stripping Ho Bai of her clothes. He said, I've waited for you for 2 days. I've grown tired of this girl. You're too late. Wu Shen rushed over, swinging his fist and shouted, let her go, you scoundrel. But Bai Xiu Wen was not to be underestimated. He blocked Wu Shen's punch with one hand and replied, oh, you want to hit me? There can't be many who can defeat me in this world. Wu Shen gritted his teeth and said, Bai Xiu Wen, I know you. You helped the great northern powers smuggle weapons, participating in their global intelligence network. After that, you share this information with your country, so you have some privileges within it. You are very skilled, but if it comes to a gamble with your life, you will definitely be the one to die. He then released his hand and said, do you have time to kill me? Or should you worry about saving her instead? She has been poisoned for 2 days, and her nervous system has probably been completely damaged, right? Wu Shen then threatened by taking off his coat. I will take her away right now. If you dare stop me, you will definitely die. Bai Xiu Wen stood still, watching Wu Shen as he took Huo Bai away. Wu Shen didn't forget to remind Bai Xiu Wen, this debt I will settle with you after I save her. A day later at the Du family's village, Elder Du said, this girl has poison invading her meridians. We can only use 5 key transmitted elements to maintain her condition, preventing it from getting worse. But to fully heal her, we need strong medicine to detoxify. Wu Shen asked, looking at the elder with concern, is it really hard to find strong medicine? The elder continued, actually, we need the bile of the albino king snake, but since this girl has been heavily poisoned, a large amount is required. It is best to obtain bile from a live snake for maximum effectiveness. Wu Shen spoke up. So, may I ask, elder, how much is a large quantity? The old man stroked his beard and replied, at least enough to fill a small swimming pool. Wu Shen said, all right, I will think of a solution. A while later, the silver-haired young man spoke. Hey bro, the thing you need? I've already arranged for someone to get it. I also booked a plane to send it to you. It's just that. Wu Shen replied, we are good friends. No need to worry too much. If there's anything inconvenient, just say it directly. It's fine. The young man waved his hand and said, it's not that it's inconvenient. It's just that since you need it urgently, I had to make a deal with them. The North American pet king, Scales Mary, is facing a difficult situation in Huaxia. Wu Shen said, it's all right. Exchanging goods for goods is very fair. I will try to think of a way to help. The young man chuckled and said, okay then, I won't disturb you any longer. 4 days later, everything was ready to treat Ho Bai. Wu Shen said, elder, the poison from the albino king snake has been collected as requested, filling this pool. What's next? The elder instructed, Mr. Wu, now you need to carry Miss Hua into the pool. Her entire body must be submerged, leaving only her nostrils and mouth above water for breathing. Wu Shen promptly complied, carrying Ho Bai into the tub. He asked, is that all? The elder continued, with one hand support her, and with the other hand, press on the Tian Chi acupoint. Wu Xin followed the elder's instructions. He thought to himself, Bai, you must get better. We are very worried about you.